If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Abuja on NT Channel 5, the Unity Station. Yes, the rainy season is here and we want to talk about it. We want to talk about preparing for disaster management, especially now that it's raining, okay? And we have someone who is the head of operations, NEMA Abuja. Please join me as I welcome, okay, Mr. Justin Uche was Rooney.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was conscious of that name.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Wow, first and foremost, we want to appreciate all you do, because when we see all the building collapse, we see all the fire outbreak, we always see NEMA there, okay, making sure that they help to make sure that the situation is coped or it does not get worse.
Okay.
So let's start with updates. We know recently a lot of things have happened. So let's start.
Yeah. In the past 2 or 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks, we've had series of building collapse. One at Area 11, the other one at Kubwa. And it is happening always during rainy season. Okay. This is within Abuja, although it's also happening in different parts of the country. So apart from the flooding during rainy season, we used to also get prepared for eventualities like happenings like building collapse.
Okay.
Because from records, we have observed that during rainy season, all structures and structures that were not properly erected, they tend to collapse because they get soaked and they become weaker. The weather and climate affects building structures. So that is exactly what happened in the past 2-3 weeks.
Okay, let's look at steps that individuals can take, or all of us can take, to make sure we avoid disaster this season.
Now, in every season is associated to a particular hazard. Dry season, you talk about fire. Rainy season, you talk about floods. And now the aftermath of floods are collapsed buildings.
Okay.
But getting prepared is always something that we should bear in mind. It should be part of us. And we get prepared by listening to warnings and early warnings. For example, before the rainy season, NIMET released the forecast seasonal climate prediction, telling us the pattern of rainfall at different locations in the country. So if we are getting prepared, we should first of all listen to those warnings.
Okay.
And now listen to response agencies, which is all the response agencies like Ministry of Health, Agriculture, in all the response agencies that do respond to emergencies. They will not tell you on their own aspect, because it's a multi-stakeholding approach. They will advise you, don't do this, don't do that. And if you keep to it, that means you are prepared.
Okay.
For example, when NIMET had their prediction, they gave us some states with NISA, they gave us some states that are likely to be flooded. It's part of the warning. If we keep to the advice and heed to the warnings, I think that is the first step in getting prepared.
Okay, let's look at specific initiatives, okay, implemented by NEMA to make sure that these disasters are avoided, at least on their own part.
Yes, NEMA as a coordinating agency have had series of meetings, stakeholders meetings, and advocacy, as well as sensitization. Even here in Abuja, where we are, we are covering FCT and Kogi.
Okay.
Yes, here in Abuja, we've had our stakeholders meeting on the 18th, and it is taking place at different locations, different states in the Federation, simultaneously. By Thursday or so, we'll be having same at Kogi, around Ibaji and Eda area. So this stakeholders meeting is where we brainstorm, look at what we have done right, look at the forecast, and recommendations and responsibilities are shared and reminded to stakeholders. This time you didn't do well here, you do it well there. We even activate local communities. Like in FCT, we had 6 LGAs. These 6 LGAs sent local divers, the community leaders, they all attended the meetings. So these are our non-structural measures and programs we put in place to make sure that we get more prepared and we respond appropriately.
Okay, let's look at success stories. We know we've seen them everywhere, and we've seen you doing a lot of things to make sure that we protect the citizens. So let's hear some of your success stories so far.
We do a lot of things to protect the citizens in collaboration with our stakeholders.
Okay.
Now, nobody can do it alone. Now, the success story, for example, you said something about the last incident of building collapse.
Yeah.
The one that happened on Saturday. That Saturday, we were called upon around 7 a.m. and 4 people were trapped. The community responded, and the people that were close by helped in evacuating the first 2 people that were trapped.
Yeah.
Yes. But the other 2 took time because we have to work with FCT emergency, which is like the state one. We now brought in private companies like Zebasit. They provide us with heavy duty equipment, excavators to help in clearing the debris. And in the process of doing it, it was swift, and we were able to bring that young lady alive. And the other person was also taken to the hospital. And I think if all the stakeholders did not work together, did not collaborate, we wouldn't have been able to achieve that.
Okay.
This one is the one that just happened this year.
Recently.
Yes, recently, yes.
Okay, briefly advise people watching, especially now, this is rainy season, the do's and don'ts from your own experience in your work. So,
we Nigerians, we are very difficult. When things happen, we try to shift blame. But disaster management is our business, everybody's business. I will not apportion blame to anybody. I'm looking at it from this angle. We citizens should just follow the rules and regulations, guiding whatever we are doing. Because for a building to collapse, there are building codes in this country. We must adhere to it.
Okay.
When the lead agencies that are responsible for construction of buildings come to you as a citizen and give you the guiding rules, you adhere to it. Don't cut corners. So I won't blame a particular agency or not, because the challenge is the same everywhere. You want to implement according to the mandate given to you, there are obstacles. So you cannot blame the person who wants to implement, because if he comes to say his own, you will start seeing that he's not responsible. But if all of us will see it as our joint business, if there's any blame, you are pushing the blame to all of us, so that we sit down and say, this one, we didn't do it well. This one, we should do it well. And we adhere to it. That is where I will go. Wow. With your question.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you once again for all you do. We say thank you to NEMA.
Thank you.
We say thank you. Okay, we've been talking about preparing for disaster management. Let's put it that way, especially during this rainy season. And we've been talking with the head of operations, NEMA Abuja, and the person of Justin Uche, who was running. So we say thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, the program is still Good Morning Abuja, but this time, let's bring you this musical.